Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome at this Tech at Lunch session on how to engage employees for seamless tech integrations. My name is Raf Franken and I'm a project manager at Flanders Make. And today I'm joined by Jonne van Belle, who's a senior researcher at the Kenniscentrum Data en Maatschappij. First of all, some housekeeping rules. So during our presentation, your microphones and cameras will be muted. If you have any questions, please do not wait until the end of the presentation, but feel free to put them in the chat and we will address them then at the end of our presentation. And this session will also be recorded such that you can later on review it again at your leisure. Today's session may be a little bit an atypical one, in the sense that normally a Tech at Lunch session does a deep dive into a very particular technical domain. Today, however, we will rather focus on the human-centric approach in manufacturing, and that's indeed the reason why today Jonne is also there. So myself, I will first sketch a bit the overall picture, and then Jonne will do a deep dive into the new concepts and the series of workshops which we have developed within the BOT program. So, but where are we coming from? Well, actually, when we look at manufacturing, we see that there is a strong tendency towards more and more customized products, but at the price of serial production. And this means, of course, that there is a very strong expectation requirement from manufacturing systems to be very flexible, to switch from producing product A to product B without any additional setting time. And this, of course, puts very strong requirements on flexibility towards manufacturing requirements. And that's why we take the best of both ways as well from the operator side as from the robot side. Now, operators will continue to play a very crucial role in future flexible manufacturing systems. And this is because we humans, we are creative, we are flexible, we have a high dexterity. But working in manufacturing, but also in other environments, sometimes still can put a heavy physical or mental load, cognitive load on people. And that's why there are multiple technologies which can come forward to lighten this labor and to reduce the cognitive or the physical load. And here we can think, for instance, about exoskeletons, which can, in case of very repetitive tasks, take away physical loads on the spine of the operator. We can think about augmented reality environments, whereas, for instance, digital work instructions are projected on smart lenses. We can think about a virtual reality where an operator could do an offline training. We also could think about smart sensors which measure the environment in which the operator is working, or even some physiological parameters of the operator itself to make sure that he or she can work in optimal conditions. We also can think, for instance, about collaborative robots. Now, within the BOT project, which we are presenting today, we have focused on two particular operator assistive technologies, which are really key for flexible manufacturing systems. A first technology are digital work instructions. These can be shown on a tablet, on a screen. They can be projected via an overhead projector on a workbench, or as I mentioned before, they can be put on smart glasses. A second advantage of digital work instructions is that they can be tuned towards the experience level of the operator. So when it's a very junior operator, you can give very detailed instructions, whereas when it's a very experienced one, you only give top level instructions and you leave it to the operator to fill in all the details, which provides for more autonomy and in the end then also for more job satisfaction. Digital work instructions also reduce training time, improve product quality, and increase operational efficiency. A second group of technologies for which we have developed multiple training and coaching workshops are so-called collaborative robots. Now, a collaborative robot is a robot which is equipped with particular sensors, force sensors in the joints of the robot, or also proximity sensors, which make sure that this cobot can work in very safe environments together with a human operator. This cobot can, for instance, also present a work object in the most optimal way, such that the operator can work in a very ergonomic condition. These cobots also improve product quality and increase productivity. Now, you may wonder, at the beginning, I mentioned that it would be a human-centric presentation, and up to now, I've only been talking about technologies. Yes, indeed, what we see is that when we talk about innovation, about new technologies, about digitalization, this is often pushed by management. And while talking about Industry 4.0, we use quite some jargon in the sense of IoT, WI, DWI. We talk about advanced robotics, and all this jargon can cause quite some anxiety with the operator in terms of, well, what kind of skills will be required when this new technology is introduced? What is the job security, which I still will have with those new technologies? And will this work still be workable? Will it be more difficult to do? Will it be more boring to do? So what we noticed is that typically confidence and trust in new technologies is rather low. And this low level of confidence then causes reluctance during the acceptance and resistance to innovation. So what we have done within the boat concept, actually within the boat project, is to work from a co-creation perspective and involve the operators, involve the engineers and the managers all together from the beginning. And through a thorough scoping of needs, expectations, but also listening to uncertainties and worries, come to a kind of co-creation approach whilst introducing new technologies. And with this, I would like to give the word now to Jonne, who will provide you a deep dive into this new concept and this series of workshops which we have developed.
Yes, thank you, Raf, for the introduction. I will also quickly introduce myself. So I'm Jonne van Belle, and I work at the Knowledge Center Data and Society. And we are the central hub for all the legal, social, and ethical aspects of data-driven and AI technologies in Flanders. And we are also, together with Flanders Make and VDAB, a partner in the BOAT project, which Raf already mentioned shortly. So to give a bit more context, in this project, we are working on a guidance trajectory for the implementation of operator assistance technology. And the main focus is on this human centricity, on to how to involve the employees in this process and how to make sure the OAT, as we call it, is introduced in a way that is accepted and good for the employees as well as the whole organization. And so within the project, the focus of me and my colleague Willemien from the Knowledge Center was this human centricity. in the project. So we focused on the involvement of employees. And so why should you include employees in your innovation process? I think the best way to answer that question is to ask one of the organizations or the general managers of one of the organizations with which we did a pilot study within the project. So Els Dreesen is the general manager of Busselok, and they are a sheltered workplace where they are working on different kinds of textile projects. And they did a small reorganization recently, and then they asked us for help with the adaptation of the packaging department. So they wanted to introduce a digital work instruction, specifically manual.2, but they also had a bit of a need for some process optimization, and there was also a possibility for a cobot. So they also asked for a small feasibility study there. And so during this whole pilot, we did 3 workshops where we involved the employees, and we talked with them about their current problems and the opportunities for the digital work instructions and for the process optimizations. We worked on what are the conditions for the employees for the introduction of this technology, and what would be the actions to make this introduction successful. And we also worked a bit on communication and feedback on different options for example, the cobots. What would they prefer, and how can we do it in the best way? And so Els, after this project, she commented that the project has a lot of added value because she could anticipate how the employees were going to react, and therefore also prevent some of the resistance that would happen if you just introduce a technology without involving the employees. So in turn, that led to more time efficiency, and it might prevent really unnecessary costs if you might have to buy a machine which is then maybe never used because the employees just don't want to use it. It also gives a broader perspective on the possibilities for improvement, because the employees, they are on the work floor. Every day they are there, they know how things work, so they really know what works and what doesn't work and how you can improve the whole process. But of course, this was only one pilot. There are many other benefits of involving employees from an early stage in your innovation process. So the first one is a better understanding, because as I said, the employees, they are on the work floor, they know what impact there might be on their job content, on their job experience, on how they have to work, how they have to deal with this technology. So if you are able to better understand it and address these issues early on, and make this process as smooth as possible for the employees, it will surely give a greater acceptance rate of the technology. There will probably be less resistance because people know what they can expect. They are informed early, and they know what change is going to happen, so they can prepare themselves for it. There's also a great opportunity to learn from each other and exchange experiences and ideas, just because the employees, they have a different kind of knowledge of the production process than the manager. So by talking to each other, you can learn from each other to together come to a better production process in the end. It's also an opportunity to have a look at the whole process and see where there are maybe other opportunities to to implement new technologies or to improve the process. So you can really identify different pitfalls in the whole process. There's been a lot of research on digitalization or the introduction of new technology on the work floor. But today I wanted to highlight one specific report, which was done by Idea Consult. And within this research that they did, they also looked into 5 different organizations who are front runners in digitalization, who already did some projects. These were 2 service organizations in Flanders and 3 production companies. And based on these 5 frontrunners, they came to some conclusions based on what are the main pitfalls and challenges when doing a digital transformation, when introducing a new technology. And so the main challenges they found are for example, of a strategic and organizational nature, the choice of hardware and software, this can really influence your whole project, and is therefore really a milestone to make sure you make this choice in a careful way. There's also the challenge of really converting from non-digital to digital, which asks for a completely different mindset, where some information might be difficult to digitalize, and it really has an effect on the whole process. It's not just one thing that gets introduced, but it needs to change a whole process. There's often this fear of technology replacing people, and it's not always valid, but it's always valid to take into account, because people might really be scared of things. So it's important to address this issue early on. And also to expect not too much from employees, because they might need new skills, they might have to change what they have been doing for a long time in the same way. So this whole process requires time and some investment in making sure everyone is up to date with what is happening. And so the key challenge is to break this habit. Change is not easy for many people, and some people need more time than other people. So it's important to provide enough time and capacity to do this transformation, and to make sure that everyone gets on board internally and externally. So what are the successful key factors to make sure your digital transformation goes smoothly? Is really, it's so important to invest in your human capital, to involve your employees early in the process, to make sure there's training and support available in these early stages of the whole transformation, and to make sure that everyone knows what's going on, that you communicate your plans, what you expect from your employees. And so this might require some evolutions on organizational level, where maybe you need to have a more flat structure where different layers of the organizations talk with each other and information passes through to all levels of the organization. It also means maybe a more proactive culture where you are informing or communicating about your plans, even when they are maybe not yet set in stone, to make sure everyone has their opportunity to gain feedback and to prepare themselves for what is going to come. It might also mean that managers become more coaches to make this transition as easy as possible. So that's all nice talk, but how do you do it in practice? And so within the BOAT project, we have developed different modules to involve your employees in innovation process. And these modules, you can see them here, are really going from very early stages where you are not even having an idea yet of what technology you want to implement, to a more clear workshop where you have a specific OAT in mind, but you want to try to find out what is the best way to implement this technology in your organization. So the employee journey really is a conversation with employees about their current process and where are the opportunities within their job and their tasks that they think a technology could be helpful for them. For the opportunity scan, we are looking at the different technologies, and we see which technologies have opportunities within your organization. So it's the other way around. In the acceptance workshop, we are really testing and evaluating concrete OAT options together with the employees, give them the opportunity to get a feeling for what it's like to use this technology with a demo, for example, and to give their feedback or their ideas for implementation. And the guidance ethics is a very specific method to come to very concrete actions for the implementation of the technology. Finally, we also have a fifth module where it's actually a masterclass, and it's the longer version of the webinar that I'm giving you today, where we really go deeply into why should you involve your employees and how can you do it. We will even give very concrete tips on facilitating these moments, these communication moments, these feedback moments, etc. So for all these modules, you should think you will need about 2 to 3 hours per module. They all happen online, and we often need a variety of participants. So the employees need to be there, but it can also be good to have production leads involved, monitors in case of a sheltered workplace, etc. And at the end of a module, there will be a report in which we outline very concrete action points for the implementation of the OAT, and it might lead to other workshops or help with technical implementation. So concretely, some examples, what it looks like. This is an example of the employee journey where we go really step by step through all the tasks and find where are the opportunities for improvement, for implementation of the technology. Here on the left, you can see we have some examples of the technologies, and we really ask for the plus points, the minus points. How do they feel about this technology? It's even better if we can do a live demo because they can really experience the technology. And on the right hand, you can see that we talk about what are possible effects or what can be the possible impact of a technology and what values are underneath those effects, and how can we enhance these values even further within the organization with the introduction of the technology. So that was it all in a nutshell, but if you are interested in guidance from the BOAT project, we have several offerings for you. So if you visit our website, which is flandersmake.be/BOAT, you can find that there is an OAT scan, which is a very short online questionnaire, which will take you about 10 minutes, in which you can get to know the different possibilities for OAT in your organization. There's the participation and acceptation modules that I just explained. And then finally, we also have several technical trainings available provided by Flanders Make and VDAB, in which you will deep dive into the technical background and the implementation of an OAT. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions about the BOAT project, you can contact either Raf or me and my colleague Willemien, specifically for the acceptation and participation modules. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, you can let us know in the chat.
Okay, thank you very much, Raf and Janne, for this nice presentation. For me, it was very clear. There are not many questions yet, but I have one from Nicole, and she asks, do you have specific findings related to the role of safety and operator participation? And she is referring to an article on the Flanders Make website. But I don't know, Raf or Janne, if you have any comments on this.
Yeah, in our modules, safety is often discussed as well, because it's it's something that it's really it's really a hot topic, let's say, for employees, because safety is of course very important. For example, when interacting with a cobot, there are a lot of questions about, okay, is this safe enough for me? What if it touches my arm, for example? So this is really discussed also in the modules, and then we really look very closely with them on also the possibilities of the technology, for example, the cobots, and what interventions are being made so it's it's safe, or as safe as possible. So not really concrete findings, but it's really, it's something that comes up every time during one of our workshops.
Okay, thank you. And another question, how can I register for the workshop, and is it free or paid?
Well, it is free, the workshops, and you can register via one of the contacts which are here. So via myself, via Janne, Willemien, And then we will contact you and set up a plan. But it's foreseen within the both project, so it is free of charge.
Okay, thank you. Another one. What should be the role of unions in the process of employees' involvement? How one should involve unions?
Well, this is a project which as we have explained, focuses a lot on human centricity. And as far as we have been working on this project, we have had very positive reactions from the unions, because in the end, our objective is to make work more workable, to reduce physical and cognitive stress. We have had workshops with SERF in Brussels, and also during an employer convention in Waterschei at T2 campus, effectively with the Middenveld, with among unions and HR teams who were interested in what we were doing. So as far as we are concerned in this project, we had quite positive reactions from the unions.
I think it's also very beneficial to have at least one union representative in a workshop, because not all employees, for example, feel comfortable to give feedback or give their ideas. But if you have a union representative present, he or she can also speak for other employees. And I think that is very valuable to have in your workshop as well, because not everyone feels free or or is eager to give ideas and feedback.
Yes, and in general, I think it's good to always try to involve the unions. There's often a process set up from the unions themselves, where in the ondernemersraad, I don't know the
Works Council.
Yeah. To also mention in these meetings the plans for digitalization, because the unions have a lot of information available as well to help this whole process. So they can also help in that way.
Okay, thank you. That was it. There are no more questions up till now. If you still have any questions, you can still post them in the Q&A. We will see them coming. But for now, we are going to close the session. And if you see more questions coming, we can still reply individually. So feel free to keep posting your questions.
Okay.
So I now hand over the words to Raf to wrap up this session.
Yeah. So I would like to, in name of Jonne, Willemine, and myself, I would like to thank you for your participation to this Tech at Lunch. And if you have any questions, as mentioned before, do not hesitate to reach out. I hope that you have learned something, and I'm looking forward to get in touch very soon. Take care and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.